It was 104 degrees the day we decided to clear all the brush out so we could set up a new building pad for a yurt. And it wasn't the temperature that made this probably one of the worst possible times we could ever have picked to clear this building pad. It was the fact that just before we arrived, a farmer had got done spraying our field, unbeknownst to us, with Roundup. Let me back this story up a little bit. We're going to go in and clear out an entire hillside filled with brush using just the bare bones basic equipment. At least that's what our plan was. It was going to be myself, Tarzan, and Cassidy working together, and we wanted to see how far we could get. What I found out the very next day was that my uncle had made arrangements with a local farmer to plant the rolling fields that we're going through with sorghum. The farmer had to kill off the entire field so that he could do a no-till drill, and he used Roundup. And he used that Roundup the very same day that we came in to start doing the brush clearing and cutting. And as you watch this video, you may notice that we don't look good. We're starting to get sweaty, dizzy, and just generally feeling like crap. And I just attributed that to the excess heat of the day and the fact that it was the longest day of the year, so we got to work real late into the night and just overexhausted from the heat. And I'm really hoping it has nothing to do with the fresh chemicals that were applied to the field right before we got there. What I found out was the farmer came in late that morning, sprayed the field, and then left. And as he left, we were pulling in right through the exact same field he just got done spraying. Then we're hauling all of the brush out into that field and dropping it off so that we can then haul it later on down the road out further away. So we were working in this fresh sprayed field without having any knowledge of it. But I think we're getting a little ahead of the game. Let's back this up to where it all started. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, you guys. Hey, welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Stan, the Dirt Monkey Genetic, and I'm a 30-year contractor. Been building a lot of stuff, hardscaping and stuff over the course of my life. And today we're starting a brand new project, and I'm calling this one my bug out shelter. We're on my back 80 acres of land. There isn't a soul around. No one as far as the eye can see. We've got a wide open pasture surrounded by woods. We've got water just down over the bridge, and we're going to be starting to build completely off the grid. There's no electricity. We don't have water. We have nothing out here, but we're going to start clearing the land and setting it up so we have our own bug out shelter. So if crap hits the fan, so to speak, we got a place to go. And we're going to be coming into here, cutting brush and clearing. Because right down here, even though you can't see it, now, there it is. That's all water. And so instead of having water that you can't gain access to or see, we're gonna come in here and cut this and trim it down so that we can walk right down to the water's edge. The equipment we're gonna be using today are just two simple pieces of equipment. Gravely brush mower, and then the Toro multi-force. We're going to be using these two hand in hand to go into there to tackle that. All right guys, I'm going to be using the remote control on the trailer to help me unload the equipment. That's one of the tricky parts. As much as I love this trailer, she is a little bit tricky with equipment, but the remote makes it not quite so tricky. Because I can raise and lower it, and that really makes a big difference. The mulch force bucket is stuck on top of the Toro grandstand, or the multi-force. That's what the technical name of this machine is. but it's not connected to it. It was just the easiest spot to transport it out to the job site. So I stuck one pin in, flopped the mulch force bucket on because we're gonna need that down the road to help us with a future project. But for right now, it's not helping out. Some point while we're making this video, the Gravely starts sounding really bad, and I'm not sure if we wrecked a bearing or what could have happened, but I actually just noticed it after we were all wrapped up for the day. So you guys, as you listen to this Gravely operate, let me know what you think is going on with it. Oh, geez. I hate these. Titch hot, tiny bit, just a little. I think it was 100, record-breaking heat, 100-something degrees today. We'll get you guys in the shade. The camera didn't last more than a few minutes before. All right, time to go time warp, time lapse. All right. It's so hot, I can't even sleep. The sweat burns. It goes into your eyes. All right, guys. So the little pike hauling the big brush is my mini-me, my 4-foot version, Cassidy Mojo Jojo, and we got Tarzan helping out today. And technically this is the spot for your guys' yurt. It's gonna go right here. And what we're attempting to do is get it cleared down to the lake that way. Yeah. So the brush mower will mow it and cut it, but it won't mulch it. That's one of the drawbacks with it. So having these guys just hiking the brush out, holy buckets, that makes it go so much faster. One guy cutting and one guy and one little tiny squirt pulling and hauling, and yeah, you're the squirt. That's what I meant. You say girl, I say squirt. And the more of this we cut, the less bugs there's going to be in here. So we've already made quite a bit of progress. But
so what about these pine trees?
Well, I'm going around them because I thought maybe we could transplant some of the little ones. The big ones I'm not going to cut with a brush cutter. They gotta hit them with a chainsaw.
Yeah, because we're gonna put it like right here, right? Right here.
That's where you want the yurt, right?
Just
yeah.
Thinking.
Right here, so that you guys could have this view. That was what you wanted, right?
Yeah, I want to be able to do an oak tree, but maybe we have to cut a few of these limbs off.
Yeah, I mean, if we put the yurt right here, we'd remove these two little pines and
yeah,
you'd have that for a view. And then you could go right down, after we get this cleared, you could go right down to the water this way.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all gonna, ultimately when we're done, this should look like a yard. Just like that field, except for the brush is gone and we got a nice grove of oak trees overhead.
Yeah.
Whew. I think I'm gonna get a water. Thomas, don't pull, don't yank. That's my job. You're gonna wear yourself out. We got a lot to do. If you see it cut, take it. But if it's not cut, leave it. All right, so refresher course. All right, here's the refresher course on how to run this thing. You're in neutral, it runs like a motorcycle. Forward, forward, backward. There's your clutch. You gotta have the clutch engaged. This is your brake. You've got your fuel on off, throttle, choke. Fuel on off is here. You gotta make sure you're on. And then you're gonna come into the brush, you're gonna let the machine cut it, you're gonna back away, then you're gonna let me and Cass hike it for you. All right. If you ever have a problem with it not wanting to start, here's a parking brake. And the parking brake actually works. So if it won't start or move, your parking brake is engaged. So go ahead, fire it up, and I'll let you do a test it out on this stuff. It's a little easier. Yep. No, hold your clutch. Always hold your clutch. Then you gotta wiggle it back and forth so she's a little touchy. Now you gotta lean back to back up. Hey, to back up, you gotta put your weight down, yeah? Yeah, she'll work like a beast for you, but you're gonna earn it. Now engage your PTO. There you go. Never go in front of that when it's running. The front is the danger zone.
It's a bunch of blades.
Yeah, and it's kicking stuff out. It spits everything to the front. The back and sides are the safest zone, but the front is the danger zone. So as soon as he cuts, we need to hike that stuff out of there for him because he can't really mulch. See, she goes forward, but she gets stuck going backwards. You gotta put your weight down on it. Yep. He's gotta put his weight on it. That's a heavy machine. She'll do a lot of the work, but not all of it. All right, let's go hike some of that brush out. I'm gonna get a water. One of the things we all noticed was that our eyes were burning, and we just attributed that to the excess heat and sweating, except I've worked in heat and sweat my entire life, and I've never had my eyes burn quite as bad as this. So I'm really hoping that, yeah, it was just because it was a super hot day. Yeah, but you know, if you guys are trying to pick your yurt spot, I know you wanted it out there more, but we got to clear it first to let you see what we got. I mean, heck, we couldn't even walk right here an hour ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know what the grade was like. We had no clue what any of this was, what was even under here.
The soil's good, it's like loamy.
Not sand?
As white as sandy is the...
Got some actual dirt.
Yeah.
Is it better to work with?
So I'm gonna grab the multi-force and trim some of the underbrush in here and up there. Thomas, I'm gonna let you kind of start to work on the heavier stuff.
All right.
And I'll try to knock down.
That bush right there. You want to get that down?
I think that may be a handsaw bush. Get the chainsaw in here.
It's too big.
Yeah. Get the chainsaw in here, and then we'll cut that one down. And we're gonna have to hand cut some of this, but like this is great for the gravely, that, and all that. This I'm gonna cut with the multi-force under here. I'm gonna cut as much with the multi-force as I can. That way we're not fighting it with the gravely, because that's, what do you think, running it? Does it wear you out a little bit?
Probably about the same as like picking up the brush and moving it, but...
Well, sweet, then I'll let you do both.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, Dad, show him the oak tree.
there's the oak tree.
Isn't it beautiful?
That's Cassidy's goal, is to get her yurt somewhere by this oak tree.
It's so good.
It is. Originally you wanted it out there so you could see that, but
I think
wherever.
it's going to be way too hot
Yeah.
out there.
Of course, we got less hot days than we have cold ones, so
That's true.
yeah.
I want to soak it in.
Yep, soak it in. Take it in while you got it. Thomas, we need some of this stuff cut with the gravely though, because this is pretty gnarly in here. If you want to just give her a skim coat over, that'd be great. So the story of Cassidy and Thomas is both of them lived completely off the grid in the jungles of Kauai for the last 4 to 10 years. Cassidy was there for 4 years with no electricity, no running water, and Thomas has been in the jungles of Kauai for the last 10 years with no electricity and no running water. And now they want to move to northern Minnesota and attempt to do the exact same thing. Set up a self-sustaining farm. And I asked them, why would you ever want to leave Kauai? And they both told me that when the virus broke out, things in Kauai started to change and get really weird. The people and feeling on that island completely shifted, and they felt like it was time to get off from an island in the middle of the ocean and to get to the mainland in case something happened. So now they're attempting to do it here on 80 acres of land. I'm gonna grab the mower and kind of come in here and start trimming the underbrush up, the lighter stuff. So whatever you see that's sticky and big and needs to go, you can make that happen. And if you got a problem with my suspenders, well, I'll tell you right now, I love my suspenders. Once you go suspenders, you never go back. Terrible. Sounds like a bearing is going on it. I gotta show you the biggest tree I've ever cut down with a lawnmower. Or at least with a multi-force. It just went right through this oak. That one did. That's a pretty good thick tree. You found a salamander?
I know. It's a baby too.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
that's a blue spotted. Those are rare.
I hope we're not running them over.
No, if you're finding them, we're not running them over.
If I'm finding them, we are running them over.
I haven't seen one of those up north here since I was a kid.
Wow.
Do you see salamanders up here a lot?
When I was a kid, I used to find them occasionally.
Hi.
So we had made some pretty darn good headway. Having Cassidy and Thomas there really made a world of difference for our progress. But we got a whole other building pad that we've still got to clear. And then we run across some barbed wire and some buried debris and stuff that we had no clue was out there, and nobody frankly knew was out there, because I asked my uncle about it, who was raised and grew up on that land, and he didn't remember putting that barbed wire in. So somehow it gets there and it needs to get gone. But coming up on the channel is the yurt. We are going to be starting the yurt build. So the very first step to getting a yurt set up is not just buying a yurt and slapping it on the ground and calling it good. You've got to actually design a deck system with an insulated floor so that you can raise it up off the ground, but it can still stay warm enough in the winter, especially in Minnesota. So coming up next, well, not very next, but coming down the pipeline, we're going to be building the yurt platform and then putting the yurt on it, and then showing how we heat, our plan to heat and cool this thing with no power, nothing. Because I've been doing a lot of research on these things. So if you guys have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you on that as well. I've got a couple ideas of things that I want to do, but I also love to hear your guys' stories. So I want to hear how you guys have tackled some of the challenges that we're facing out on this project. That's all we got for you on this one, though. Next video, we're going to wrap up the building pad. I'll see you guys on that one.